My name is Annabelle, and I am a case manager with the Trust and Hope Family Agency. My client's name was Miss C, and she came to our agency presenting with issues of depression, recent loss of job promotion, and the inability to find adequate and consistent childcare. So Miss C is a single mother, and she is the administrative assistant at a trucking company. So she lives in a small town in rural Kentucky, and her elderly neighbor, who is her only source of social support, watches her son. However, as her son has gotten older, her neighbor has consistently called her and asked her to come pick her son up. Because she works at a large trucking company, whenever this happens, she usually has to just take the rest of the day off and take her son home. So it was recently a promotional opportunity within her place of employment. However, although she has over 4.5 years of experience at this firm, this promotion was instead given to a man who has less experience than her within this agency. She's credited this as being the primary factor in why her depression has recently escalated. Additionally, she feels that because her son does not have consistent childcare and because she has to frequently leave to go pick him up, that this might be the reason she did not receive this promotion opportunity. Miss C explained to me during our initial session together that the recent escalation in her depression and her depressive symptoms has resulted in newfound anger issues and irritability. Because she is a single mom, she faces a lot of stress, and when her son acts out, she tends to lash out on him. This has affected her relationship with her son and her primary reason for seeking out the services of our agency. So the first question that I'm going to answer is identify a macro, micro, meso, and macro level issue that was addressed during our sessions. So the first issue was her depression, and her son is the only member of her family system. She does not speak to her parents, and she does not have any friends, and so her son is easily the most important person to her and her sole source of family support. Because of her recent escalation in depression, her anger issues have also escalated as well. For these reasons, she has begun lashing out at her son when he acts out, which has deeply affected their relationship and is her primary reason for seeking services. Because of this, we worked together to establish a SMART goal, which was for her to seek telehealth therapy services within 2 weeks of our initial session. The meso-level issue that was addressed was her inability to find consistent childcare. As a single mother, she has to work really hard, and she still struggles to afford basic necessities such as her rent and groceries and things like that. For these reasons, she has her son stay with her elderly neighbor instead of being put in a formal daycare center. Her neighbor is elderly. She said her neighbor was 75 years old and has been watching her son since he was little. However, now that he's gotten older and just more rambunctious, her neighbor has found it difficult to watch him the full 8 hours, so she has started frequently calling Miss C to come pick her son up early. When this happens, she has to leave her place of employment early to come pick him up. I felt the best way to address this issue was to provide the client with child care vouchers as well as information about various daycare centers in our community that accept these vouchers. With the information given, Miss C can look over them and see which one best fits her schedule, her needs, and the needs of her son. The macro level issue addressed was the fact that she was recently overlooked for a job promotion. Miss C has been with her agency for over 4 years, 4.5 years to be exact, and her promotion was instead given to a man who has only been there for 2.5 years, she said. For these reasons, she believes that her depression has escalated and that this is the primary factor for that. She requested information about various job training programs as well as resume building workshops because she wants to find a better source of employment in which an agency that will value her and her skills and her abilities. She further feels that the promotion was given to a man rather than her because of her duties as a single mother and her responsibility to her son. The next question that I'm choosing to address is how I use the generalist intervention model throughout my session with Miss C. So for engagement, I provided my professional introduction stating my name, my role at the agency, and what my role is. So as a case manager, I had the role to connect the client to any resources that she may be in need of. Additionally, I asked her introduction, her name pronunciation, as well as her preferred pronouns, just so I could ensure that she was comfortable and felt safe. Next, I explained the policy issues of confidentiality, ensuring that her privacy would be kept and that anything she said would remain between me and her unless she said something that involved child abuse, suicidal planning, or homicidal planning. Additionally, I was going to be taking notes, but I was granted her permission to do so, and I also informed her that the release of her information could only be done through her written and informed consent. So next was assessment. When she began speaking about her issues, we discussed the presenting issues that she came to address. These consisted of her depression, her inability to find adequate childcare, and her loss of promotion resulting in her want and interest in finding a new place of employment. So with this, we addressed the problems as well as work together to figure out what might be the best resources that could serve her. So next was planning. So firstly, what we did was I had the client identify what she felt was the primary issue that she wanted to address first and the quickest. She immediately stated that her depression was the immediate reason why she came to seek the agency resources. And so we created a SMART goal outline together to help serve her issues of depression. So with this, we both worked together to come up with a goal of her seeking telehealth therapy services once a week for at least an hour per session within 2 weeks of our initial session, which was on November 22nd, 2022. We also worked together to provide or just to inform her about other agency resources that we can provide to her. These included child care vouchers for daycare services as well as healthcare vouchers for the telehealth therapy services. Additionally, I provided the client with information pertaining to job training programs and resume building workshops within the community that can help her build and gain necessary skills to find a more suitable place of employment. The last question is the skills that helped me prepare for my interview with Ms. C. So first, I rewatched all of my previous interviews. They were all on the discussion forum, so I just went and rewatched all of them, and I took note of what I felt I needed to improve upon, as well as what I think I did pretty well on. So I have an issue of saying the word a lot, which I do not like, and I have been trying really hard to stop doing that. So I took note of that and tried my best to work on that. Additionally, in several of my interviews, I forgot to ask the client the pronunciation of her name as well as her preferred pronouns. So I made a note to do this, and for my final interview, I did all the necessary steps that were needed to ensure a quality interview. Next, I went over all of the class materials, such as my notes and the class slides, to make sure that I had all the proper notes that I needed to have with me during the actual session, as well as just any information that I needed to know during the session. Lastly, I had a plan, different SMART goals that I had created for whichever presenting issue the client would say is their primary need to be addressed. So the client chose depression as their initial need, but I also had SMART goal outlines written for the child care services as well as for the loss of job promotion and her drive to find another form of employment. I just want to conclude this case conference by saying thank you so much for watching, and I had a wonderful time working alongside all of you throughout this course, and I can't wait to continue working alongside all of you guys in our next few courses until we finally graduate. So good luck to all of y'all.